At this time, I'd like to call the Nashville Town Council meeting to order for March the 5th. So would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Father, we invite you into our meeting tonight to lead us and guide us and give us your wisdom so that we as a council can make the right decision for all of our citizens. Amen. Amen. The first item on our agenda is approval of minutes. So let's look at the minutes for February the 6th, 2024. Were there any corrections to those?
On page I made a note. Let me figure out what my note is. Okay. On page 9, second paragraph, the middle of the paragraph, it says grown out of proportion to what the anticipated. I think that should have said they anticipated. You see it, Lou?
Any other corrections? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for February the 6th?
So made.
Thank you. Is there
Second.
Second? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next minutes that need to be read and approved, which you've already read and reviewed, are the ones for February the 19th. Are there any corrections to those? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the February 19th, 2024 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried and the minutes are approved. The last ones are for February the 20th, 2024. Are there any corrections to those? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
Being no correction, move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved for February the 20th. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is public input, and we have Virginia Baginski to come in to the podium. State your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Virginia Budzinski, 400 East Church Street, Nashville. Thank you. In recent discussions and in lieu of what's been noticed on the news lately, a lot's been spoken about and rumors about a proposal for a potential tax increase in Nashville, North Carolina, and Nash County. The proponents argue that the additional revenue generated from the tax hike would be crucial for addressing various community needs, such as improving infrastructure, enhancing public services, and investing in education. Supporters of the tax increase emphasize the positive impact it could have on local schools, roads, and public safety, ultimately contributing to an improved quality of life for residents. They argue that the investment in these areas is essential for the long-term growth and prosperity of the community. On the other hand, opponents of the tax increase express concerns about the potential burden on taxpayers, especially during challenging economic times. They argue that residents and businesses may already be facing financial challenges and that an additional tax could exacerbate these difficulties. Some critics also call for more transparent and efficient use of existing funds rather than resorting to tax increase. Finding a balance between addressing community needs and ensuring the financial well-being of residents will be crucial in the decision-making process. The upcoming discussions and decisions regarding any proposed tax increases will likely involve thorough deliberation and community engagement to weigh the benefits against the potential drawbacks. With the recent 3-cent increase that was initiated last year, the community would like to be informed of future decisions prior to the implementation of any increases and valuations of properties, and have the opportunity to voice their opinions and concerns in a public forum. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is Sean here?
He's here.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is the swearing in of Walter Harper. So if you please come forward.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, and entire Citizen Town staff. We have with us this evening Mr. Walter Harper. He is our newly appointed member of the Planning Board, Board of Adjustment. And this evening he has with him his wife, Ms. Donita Harper, and his son, Harrison. And he will be getting sworn in by our mayor, Mayor Brenda Brown, for his appointment to the Board of Adjustment.
You hold the Bible. If you put your right hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and
Left hand on the Bible.
repeat after me. I, Walter Harper,
I, Walter Harper,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent
not inconsistent
therewith,
therewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
perform the duties as a member
perform the duties as a member
of the Board of Adjustment
of the Board of Adjustment
of the Town of Nashville,
of the Town of Nashville,
of which I am now about to enter,
for which I am about to enter,
according to the best of my skill
according to the best of my skills
and ability.
and abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So welcome.
Mr. Harper. Stay where you are, because we got many more photographers over here need to get a phone shot of you. All right.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so
Thank you.
much. The next item on our agenda is a proclamation of Faith Christian Ministry. I'd like to ask Laura Bartholomew to come up, who is the director there.
Mayor, would you mind grabbing your mic so you can?
And I'll read the proclamation. Whereas the essence of a thriving community lesson is unwavering commitment to support and uplift its members in times of need. And whereas for 4 decades, Faith Christian Ministries has exemplified this spirit of compassion, solidarity, tirelessly serving the citizens of Nashville and Nash County. And whereas Faith Christian Ministry has been a steadfast beacon of hope, providing an array of essential services to those facing adversity, and you help them by including clothing, food pantry provisions, utilities assistance, rent support, gas, medicine, and various other necessities, ensuring that no individual or family goes without basic needs. And whereas the dedicated volunteers and staff of Faith Christian Ministry have exhibited boundless compassion, empathy, and generosity in their mission to alleviate suffering and promote dignity. And whereas through their selfless efforts, Faith Christian Ministries has profoundly impacted the lives of countless individuals and families, offering not just material support, but also a sense of belonging, resilience, and hope. And whereas the 40th anniversary of Faith Christian Ministry is a momentous occasion that warrants recognition and celebration, marking 4 decades of unwavering dedication to serving the most vulnerable members of our community. Now, therefore, I, Brenda Brown, Mayor of Nashville, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim that Faith Christian Ministries be honored and celebrated for 40 years of exceptional service to our community, encompassing a wide range of essential services. That we express our deepest gratitude to the volunteers, staff, donors, and supporters of the Faith Christian Ministry for their tireless commitment to serving others and for enriching the fabric of our community through their compassion and generosity.
that we commend Faith Christian Ministry for their enduring dedication to the principles of solidarity, empathy, and service, which has uplifted and empowered countless individuals with families throughout Nashville and Nash County. Furthermore, we encourage all residents of Nashville, North Carolina, in celebrating the significant milestone and to continue supporting Faith Christian Ministries in their mission to alleviate hardships, promote dignity, and foster community residence. So this is a proclamation, be duly recognized and honored as a testament to the profound impact of Faith Christian Ministry on the well-being and vitality of our community over the past 40 years.
I did it too.
Need to take a break now, Mayor?
That's so dry, I couldn't talk. The next item on our agenda is old business, voluntary annexation.
So Mayor and Council, at the February 20th council meeting, the council certified the sufficiency of the annexation of Lot 1 located at 602 Breedlove Road and scheduled a public hearing on its annexation for tonight. The notice of annexation public hearing was published in the February 20th edition of the Nashville Graphic newspaper, and letters were sent out to the budding property owners regarding this public hearing. At this time, the council can open and hold the scheduled public hearing and receive oral and written comments on this annexation. Upon conclusion of that public hearing, then, the mayor may call for a vote of the council on ordinance 2024-01, annexing the 1 acre located at 601 Breedlove Road, Nashville, into the town of Nashville.
Do I hear a motion that we go into a public hearing?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Is there all in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone that would like to speak concerning this? If not, do I hear a motion that we close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
And now we need to take a vote to approve or adopt ordinance 2024-01, annexing the property into the town of Nashville.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the Fire Station 2 legal bills.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We've discussed the subject of legal fees for the Fire Station 2 site purchase a great deal. I'm sorry to have to be discussing it again, but this is an agreement to essentially acknowledge the basis for the towns agreeing to pay the legal fees for the landowner for 3MR Limited Partnership. They incurred significant legal expenses that were not expected, that had to do with obtaining local government commission approval. And then in connection with the construction financing loan, there were differences of views between the attorneys for the landowner and the attorneys for the bank. And we had no idea the fees would be what they were. The attorney for the landowner several times began our conversations when I would discuss with him these challenges. He would say, this seems like no good deed goes unpunished department is where this is going wrong. Because the owner did not bank on all of these legal expenses. So I've drafted an agreement to basically substantiate the legal basis for paying these fees and the accommodations and the cooperation that the landowner did not have to give to allow the town to get to the finish line on the fire station project. It's self-explanatory. The one thing I would ask is that if you could generally approve the substance of this agreement. At this point, I have not gotten confirmation from the attorneys as to how much of their billings to 3MR were in fact paid by 3MR and how much are still outstanding. So the payment of the legal fees might involve a combination of reimbursing the property owner for fees the property owner paid, as well as paying outstanding billings to the property owner. The bottom line number is exactly the same. It's just that the wording might need to be changed in order to reconcile those accounts between the lawyers and the client. But with that qualification, we would recommend that you approve this agreement.
Do I hear a motion to approve reimbursement to 3MR Limited Partnerships legal expenses associated with the town securing a loan to build Fire Station 2 at 1520 Oak Level Road, Nashville, North Carolina?
I will make that motion, but first I just want to point out that this is a very unique situation, that this is not something that any of us could have foreseen, that this is limited only to the excessive fees that were incurred from the LGC and the bank issues. So this isn't just the regular transaction fees that we did anticipate, and that it's one time only, no future fees. And then I'll make that motion that we pay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is rezoning 602 Breelove Road. Sean?
Good evening once again, Mayor, Council, town staff, and town citizens. As you know, we have before us the rezoning of 602 Breelove Road. We'll just go through a brief summary because I think we can say we all did our due diligence, kind of already reviewed over the packet in its entirely. Red Oak Forest Development LLC has requested the rezoning of the property, but it is slated for annexation. It's going to be rezoned from A1 to R15, and that will match the rest of the Breelove subdivision that's already been annexed in and rezoned. And just to briefly go through our packet, as you can see on the first page was a notice of public hearing that was sent out to everybody within 500 feet. The meets and bounds of the property. Additional letter that was posted on all the doors at the library and at the town hall. And we have our statement of consistency that I will read after the public hearing session. But the parcel number for this property is parcel number 032463 with a PIN number 380100977466. North of the land is A1 retail. South of the land is R15 residential, A1 residential, A1 residential. The existing zoning is A1. I take it we all know the definition for A1 is in our agricultural district. The proposed zone is R15, which will be in contingent of what is already zoned. Madam Mayor, I will turn it back over to you for the opening up the public hearing session.
Okay, do I hear a motion to open for a public hearing?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this rezoning of 602 Breelove Road?
I don't think we had nobody sign up as always. We'll full polled audience.
If not, do I hear a motion to close our public hearing?
So moved.
Move to close.
Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Sean. So we have to vote to approve the rezoning with ordinance 2024-02.
Yes, ma'am. I give you my recommendations of the statement consistency from the planning board. Town's recommendation from planning staff is to approve this rezoning from A1 to R15 because the rezoning will not have any detrimental impact on the neighboring properties or the existing landowner since the adjacent property has been designated as R15 through the annexation process. Staff is in agreement that this rezone is applicable to the town of Nashville zoning ordinance, comp plan, future land use plan, and any other relevant plan on file with the town of Nashville. And the town planning board held a meeting on March the 5th, 2024. At the same time, they pretty much agreed with the staff in their statement of consistency. It was written by the chairman of the board, Mr. Wayne Sears. A motion was made by board member Eddie Thomas and second by vice chairwoman Jacqueline Lewis that they approved the rezoning request because it was in contention of the harmony of the adjacent land use.
Okay. So do I hear a motion at this time after hearing that we approve the rezoning with ordinance 2024 602, and that is the Breedlove Road.
Move to approve the rezoning request for RZ 202-302.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Madam Mayor and Council, thank you.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the annexation application from the town of Nashville, Resolution 2024-10. And it states that the town of Nashville owns 48 acres of land abutting the Stone Creek Environmental Park off of West Washington Street, formerly owned by GSM Properties LLC, and the town staff has submitted the attached voluntary annexation petition for the property. Per the annexation process in NCGS 68-58, the next step is for the town council to direct the town clerk to investigate the sufficiency of this annexation and report back to the council. So do I hear a vote for us to do that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. So, Lou,
Okay, we're gonna do this like we did last time, where I do the sufficiency and the resolution at the same time, since
Okay.
the town owns. I just need you to sign that.
Somehow I didn't realize that was not within town.
It's not.
okay,
Yeah, just you do it next.
okay. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is,
Move to approve it.
we've got to get ready to approve it. The 48 acre annexation petition, and so let's look at that. And the town has received a petition requesting a contingent annexation of 48.12 acres of property commonly known as 48.12 acres abutting the Stony Creek Environmental Park off of West Washington Street. The town of Nashville has submitted the signed petition and required survey map. The town clerk has investigated and found sufficient significancy for the application. The council previously determined it wishes to annex the property. The town staff will schedule a public hearing on the annexation for the April 16th, 2024 meeting at 7 p.m. in the council chambers at 114 West Church Street. Notice of the public hearing on the council's intent to annex the property will be published in the Nashville Graphic newspaper more than 10 days prior to the public hearing. Letters to abutting property owners informing them of the annexation public hearing will be mailed more than 10 days prior to the public hearing. And it tells you that attached is the annexation petition and the town clerk's certification of sufficiency on the annexation and Resolution 2024-10, accepting the town clerk's certification of sufficiency of the annexation and scheduling a public hearing pursuant to NCGS 168-31 on the annexation for April 16, 2024. So at this time, we need to vote to approve the Resolution 2024-11, scheduling a public hearing for April 16, 2024 at 7 p.m. for the voluntary annexation of 48 acres the town recently purchased abutting Stony Creek Environmental Park off of West Washington Street.
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is Sean again. The tax liens for code enforcement cleanup services.
Once again, Madam Mayor and Council, we have been doing some cleaning up of the files from previous code cases over the past 2 years, and we have found some outstanding bills that have not been paid towards the town where we have sent mail to that has come back undeliverable, either the person no longer lives there. The first one we have is 1024 Birchwood Drive. Of course, this one did come before the council twice for cleanup. The total amount of cleanup right now on this property is $2,639.74. I myself will recommend that we put a lien on this property because all the mail has come back undeliverable to it. Town Manager Lanston did find a forwarding address today at a meeting he was attending and did send it to me. So even if we put a lien on it, we will still try to forward it to this person to see if we can collect our fees owed on it. But my recommendation is to put a lien on this property, but of course, we have to have a public hearing on it before we can move on towards the lien process. Madam Mayor, I'll turn it over to you for the public hearing.
And Councilmember Lump actually found,
Do a little research.
he sure did.
Thanks, sir.
So I need to hear a motion to agree to place the lien on this property on 1024 Birchwood Drive for the town's unpaid cleanup cost on the property.
We need a public hearing first, Madam
And
Mayor. Just
we
open
need
it
to
up
have a
big.
public hearing now.
Just open and close.
We got to do all three of them separately?
We probably could go ahead and do the first three together, then do the last page all together. And I'll keep going. Let's go that way so we can expedite the process.
Okay, so do I hear a motion for a public hearing?
So made.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
So if there's anyone here that would like to speak concerning the lien on the property on 1024 Birchwood Drive, on 205 Essex Road,
Oh, we haven't read that one yet.
did you say?
I can go, if you open it up, I can read all the filing.
Okay,
Read the rest.
and then on 112 Arrowwood Drive. And so do you want, can he read those and then we approve it? Can he read
Can we
those?
backtrack Raz during the public hearing and then they can come back and approve it?
Yes, I mean, you can.
Yes, sir.
You can
Like, can he
combine
talk
the
now
three
to
or
this
four items
public?
on the agenda to a single session and then take final action after.
Okay,
Okay. Our next one will be the property of 205 Essex Road. That was another code enforcement cleanup done on September the 14th, 2023. The owner is William H. Jones of Apache Drive. To date, right now, the cost of that property was $1,717.18. As of today, no payment has been made towards that property, and the mail has come back a deliverable. And our third one on this one was 112 Arrowwood Drive. That was the one brought before council because the house caught on fire, and it was a fire damage house. There was no way you could bring it back up to code. It was demolished at the price of $7,246 with an ordinance wrote by council.
Is that
okay.
the one where the owners wanted to keep the property, right? Were we in touch with anyone? of the family
Those were
members?
the two over here in the Brooklyn Heights subdivision. This was the one about 2 years ago in Arrowwood. It caught on fire, and the family pretty much didn't have no insurance to do anything with
Okay,
it. So
okay.
they had to give it over to the town to tear down.
Sean, moving back to Birchwood,
Yes, sir.
1024 Birch, is that residence vacant?
I rode by today, Councilman Taylor, and it looks like people are still living there. The red truck was parked on the grass. They have moved it to the driveway after receiving a letter from the state that you couldn't have it there. So I take it somebody is still there. Yes, sir.
But they're not the owners.
No, sir. They, I believe, are the next of kin to just kind of inherit the property.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, do I hear a motion that we come out of the public hearing?
Move to come out of public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Now we need to take a vote agree to place the liens on these properties that we just, that Sean just read to us.
I make a motion that we place the respective liens on the respective properties.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item on our agenda is tax liens for code enforcement cleanup services.
Madam Mayor, once again, it's good to be before the board. We have a few more that we just found that we wanted to go ahead and also tighten up on these. These are not expensive as the other ones. It could have just been maybe 1 or 2 cuts, 3 cuts done throughout the summer months, but we'll read through all of them. 834 7th Street, $470. The parcel right beside 834 7th Street is actually owned by the owner, 834 7th Street, 006026. And that was for $110. 822 Rose Street for $800. The parcel 006268, vacant lot left for 841 Brooklyn Boulevard, which is owned by the family of the 834 7th Street family. 209, that one is for $110. 209 North Austin Street, a vacant home, $180. 204 6th Street, a vacant lot, $110. 206 North Body Street, a vacant lot, $500. And of course, we already have a lien on that one from the demolition we done 2 years ago. 514 Western Street, that one is $200. 100 Apache Drive, $170. 108 Arrowwood Drive, $190. 2352 US 64 alternate, $770. And of course, 550 Indian Trail, the vacant lot on Indian Trail for $550. My recommendation is, as we did just for the other ones, to go ahead and place a lien on it, so if the properties ever do sell or anything happen, the town can recoup our money that we already put into it.
Okay.
But we'll need a public hearing, Madam Mayor.
Do I hear a motion that we go into a public hearing concerning these properties?
Move that we go into public hearing.
Second?
Second.
At this time, are there any citizens or individuals here that would like to speak to these properties?
I don't think it representative property owners.
If not, do I hear a motion that we come out of our public hearing?
So made.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I will ask a vote from the council of approval to place liens on these properties, so if they ever do sell or go up for sale through tax foreclosures, anything, the town can recoup our money back that we have inherited put into them.
So do I hear a motion to approve the placing the tax liens on the above listed properties in the amounts that are listed, unpaid nuisance abatement and code enforcement cleanups by the town of Nashville?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, Madam
We
Mayor.
appreciate the job you're doing.
And Mayor, I think it'd be our responsibility to make sure that the citizens that are here and those that are looking at us online or whatever, understand that these liens, we're not out to just try to get citizens to pay for stuff that, just off the cuff. This is property that we have deemed necessary to clean it up. People have not taken responsibility of their own property. They won't cut the grass, they won't pick up the trash, they won't do anything else. So to not make your property that may be next to it, Sean has authorized the cleanup on these properties. But when we hire somebody to come in to cut the grass, or when our guys go over and cut the grass, there's a cost incurred to that. So we just feel it's only right that if you don't pay it or cut it yourself, then you just reimburse us for doing it. But nobody's reimburses on any of these right here. So the only way we can possibly even get any money back is to place these liens on this property. So that's why we go through this. So that's part of trying to keep our neighborhood, your neighbor's property looking good, so your property value will not go down.
Thank you.
Well, and to piggyback off that, we go through this process. Isn't there a better way to do this? Can't we automatically do this every time Sean does something? I mean, there's.
Well, when we incur the cost of abating, then we have to bill it, and then we have to wait so many days for non-payment, and then after that, then we can place liens on it. But yeah, I mean, if you'd rather, we can probably go through a process administratively and not bring all these before the council if you prefer to do it that
I
way.
think it should be automatic and quick, because if the property sells in the meantime, we're out the money.
Yeah,
So we don't need to wait 6 months or a year. I'm not trying to blame anybody here. I'm just trying to say we need a better system.
okay.
Whether it be automatic or, and at some point, there's a vacant lot we're cutting the grass on every year. We need to take the lot. I mean, if they're not going to they don't want it, and they don't care about it, we need to find a way to take it.
So we've entered into, anytime that we actually speak with a property owner or can contact a property owner, that is one of the options that we give before any sort of cleanup, demolishing the property or anything like that. As far as actually going after it, it is kind of a costly, lengthy process to do that, but Raz, you can speak to that. To try to like
Make
foreclose
sure
on
I
a tax
understand.
lien.
Are you speaking of the town actually offering to purchase these properties that are
Or tax lien foreclosure.
Well, if there are abatement liens of the town, there's a pretty good chance that the taxes haven't been paid either. So you have county and town tax liens, and as well as the town's liens for the collection of these fees. And, typically the county or the towns, and I'm not clear whether the town, Nashville collects its own, assesses and collects its own taxes. You're not contract, okay. But either the town or the county could initiate a tax foreclosure sale. And just as if there was a loan out on the property, that would be one of the encumbrances on the property that would be satisfied with the sale of the proceeds. Typically, you try to foreclose based on the outstanding debt. You say, does anybody want to buy this property? And the town or the county reserves the right to purchase if, in fact, the debt, the property's worth a lot more than just the county-town abatement lien debt. And so that's the process for initiating a foreclosure proceeding, which leads to a foreclosure sale. And ultimately, the debts get satisfied, and typically some other party, quite possibly the county or the town, purchases in at the foreclosure sale and takes the title to the property. But that's the process, and the tax lien is just one of the several encumbrances probably on the property. And if the property is not sold, if it's a private sale, the successor owner needs to get good title, and so the successor owner will inherit that debt and typically get the property discounted if it's subject to these debts. But if it's not sold at private sale, the tax foreclosure is usually the process that sort of cleans the slate and provides for funds to pay off these various debts, including the town's abatement lien.
So how much would an average, say, unopposed tax lien foreclosure work? Like, how much would it cost and how long would it take?
Just a wild guess, 6 months. This is not something I have done directly in the Triangle. Wake County does all the tax assessment, listing, foreclosure, and so forth, and the municipalities have agreements with Wake County that if property is for sale that's in a municipality, the town has an option to actually take title if that puts the town in the best position to clear its liens, county tax liens, and to own a lot that might have some value to the town.
So we need a town policy to.
And I'm not sure if the town has policies on properties that are subject to town liens and how that, what the customary practices have been for Nashville
I think we need to look into that.
over the years.
Town policy for back taxes and back fees, and also we need to have a policy where Sean or his department or whoever automatically does these liens as soon as we take care of whatever the issue was that we took care of, either grass cutting or removing a fired home or whatever that is. We need to immediately put that lien on there without having to come to council 6 months later and hope that the property hadn't sold in the meantime. And again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I'm just trying to say that this is not the way we should do it.
Typically, if there's a sale, at least from my experience, the lien would get satisfied because the seller would typically
Not if there's
want
not a lien.
title.
Right,
These
but
don't
what
have
I'm saying
liens.
is we
Encumbrance,
have
just-
things that have been owing for a year
Yeah.
or 6 months, so if it was
There's no
already
lien.
sold, there's no lien for them to satisfy.
Well,
I mean, there's somebody else
obviously,
is-
getting the lien on the record, on the title record.
$7,000
that's
from whatever it was last year, 2 years ago. I mean, that lot could be sold for all we know, and we lost $7,000.
Sean, these 12 items these 12 addresses you just went through, how old are these?
I appreciate Sean pulling these up. This is great.
These 12 were from last year grass cutting last summer. The last ones we just went over there from last year grass cutting.
Last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The only thing that's pretty much the most outstanding
Okay, other
would be
wood.
the 112 Arrowwood, which right now is still in the owner's name when I checked it, who had it when it caught on fire, but I think that was going to probably end up foreclosing later on down the road.
When was so how old was that one from when we did the work?
For the fire damage
Arrowwood?
house,
Yeah.
that one was from 2 years ago.
2 years.
Yeah, it generally doesn't take this long for it to come to council, right?
Right, it does. This is just one of the ones that we billed about 3-4 times, and then finally we just got all the mail back saying undeliverable. So I
Okay.
said, let's go ahead and take it tonight while we got a chance.
But we can bill and do a lien at the same time, right?
I would yield to.
We can put a lien on the
I would
property and
yield
still
to
bill
our
them
attorney on that
and take the lien off when they pay, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is just the security for the collection. of
Right, so
that
we need to
debt.
do that immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, like within 30 days of the expense. We need to have a lien on that property.
And if we did have a policy, would it be something that we could have done administratively rather than it come before the council?
Yeah, let us work on a written policy and bring it back to council for approval.
Please.
On how we can do these.
Thank you.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
If I may, let me just say this so that anybody that's in our audience or listening on our live session, I agree that it's appropriate to take appropriate action when the town pays certain things. However, I don't want to overcast that the town is out to take anything from any of our citizens. I'm vehemently in disagreement with that. And so there again, I want to be clear that we want to do all that we can to work with our citizens. When we invest costs such as grass cutting, things of that nature, yes, let's take a review. And that's exactly what I was going to recommend when we got through with this, was that we do a review and try to figure out what's the best way administratively to move forward. But I don't want it stated that we want to take anything, at least personally, that we want to take anything. I think we are a caring town, and I think we want to carry on in that model and in that way. And yes, it may be a large bill here or there, but I don't think that's going to be the process all the time. I don't think we run into that all the time. So thank you once again for all the work that you do, Mr. Sean, and that's all I wanted to say about that.
And I think, too, it should be noted, just the fact that Sean has always tried to make contact with the owners multiple
Right.
times for
Right.
many months prior to even taking any action for these items. And sometimes it's even agreed upon with the owners when we take these actions. So it's nothing that's a surprise to anybody.
Right.
And I want to clarify my remarks. I'm not saying we got to be mean to people. If you get a loan from a bank, the deed of trust is recorded right then, the same day, and they're not being mean. They're being cautious of their money, and so that's what I'm trying to be. Is cautious of the money.
Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is the Asphalt Street Overlay Project Resolution 2024-12.
So, Mayor and Council, as you know, we were fortunate enough to receive a line item in the state budget that brings us $500,000 more that we can spend on street overlays and project sidewalk replacements. Compliments of Senator Lisa Barnes. And the Public Works Department is recommending the following streets be overlaid with a half-inch of hot mix asphalt because the project meets the definition of horizontal construction and the projected cost is more than $350,000. We're required by statute to use a licensed engineer to prepare plans and specifications and let a formal bid on that. The streets are listed there. Vale Street from Drake to Elm. Currently, that's a dirt road.
Didn't you say in one of our previous meetings that there might even be issue with us actually owning that entire dirt road?
And that's reflected in the engineer's contract for doing this work. There's going to have to be some surveying done up there to make sure that where the road is today is in the right-of-way. And if it's not, we may have to look at doing something a little different. But, you know, the challenge there, if you've ever driven that street, it's right along the Stony Creek cliff. And it drops, 30, 40 feet very, very sharply. The other streets on there are South Creek Drive from Laurel Springs to the very end, Church Street from Barnes to Alston, Lumber Street from Washington to Elm, Baker Street from First Street to its cul-de-sac, the Westwood Circle Loop. Now, if you're familiar with that, you may wonder, why do the whole thing? We've already bought out all the properties in the bottom through a previous flood buyout. Nobody lives down there. But, you can't make the circle without driving on part of it. And my concern is if we don't do it all, we'll be subject to criticism. If we do it all, we'll probably be subject to criticism. Anyway, Clark Street then is also in that neighborhood from Western to its dead end, and Clark Circle from Clark to the cul-de-sac. Then we got Body Street from Cross to Railroad, Murphy Street from First Street to Wilson Ave, Old Wilson Road, and Thor Street from Elm to Cedar. That's another street up by the cemetery, which is just gravel. And anyway, those are the ones that our Public Works Department is recommending we include in our bid letting. Chances are those are going to come back probably at a price more than we can afford to do. So at that time, we'll probably have to trim it down. But where we are this evening is for the council to approve a resolution waiving the requirements of the Minnie Brooks Act. The Minnie Brooks Act requires a certain procedure for procuring professional services, but if you're below a certain threshold, the council can exempt itself from that qualification-based selection and simply award a contract to an architect or an engineer, and that's what that resolution does. It exempts this project from the Minnie Brooks requirement and then approves Stocks Engineering a contract with them for $21,800 to prepare plan specifications and bid out this asphalt overlaying project.
Are there any questions for Randy?
I got two questions. On the agenda report, it says 21,800, but on their contract or the resolution, it says 22,400.
Oh, it is the 22,000. I meant to change that.
22.4 is the right amount.
Yes, I apologize for that.
And then back to the Westwood Circle, I actually questioned also, is it cheaper to put 2 cul-de-sacs there instead of going all the way around? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know one day we might want to use that for parking for a park, maybe one day, but that might be 10 years from down the road. But I don't know which is cheaper. And so,
Lee, do you have an opinion on that, or?
I doubt it's cheaper.
You know, from a standpoint of garbage truck, recycling truck, fire trucks
circle
going through
around.
there.
That makes sense.
It's best to keep the loop.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And when you read it off, Randy, you said a half an inch hot mix, it's an inch and a half hot mix.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Is that pretty much the same thing, Randy, that we did, I guess it was last spring, in the month of April, when we did some streets in the Nashville area? Is this the same product that we're talking about?
Well, what we did last year was called the slurry seal and the cape seal, which you can do a lot more street for. It's a less expensive, but we did do some asphalting last year too. And I'm drawing a blank on which streets we actually asphalted last year, but we did do some last year in addition to the slurry and the cape seal.
Any other
And
questions?
we can slurry seal these, can't we?
Well, these are probably too far gone
Yeah,
for
they're
slurry
horrible.
seal and cape seal.
Okay.
They really need an overlay.
Any other questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 2024-12, exempting the town's 2024 asphalt street overlay project from the Minnie Brooks procurement requirements for the selection of the engineering services and approving a $21,800 contract with Stocks Engineering for the project, but it's 22,400.
Mayor, 22,400.
22,400.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The
Now,
next-
is that 22 coming out of the 500 that Senator Barnes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I was saying when we get the bids back, it'll be for a unit price, and then we'll have to decide which streets maybe we don't do.
The next item on our agenda is the Gold Leaf Site Project Application Resolution 2024-13.
So, Mayor and Council, the Golden Leaf Site Program provides counties and municipalities with grant funding to make industrial and commercial property more suitable for economic development projects. And we have one of those properties in our West Nashville Commerce Park. It's Lot 2. If you look at the aerial photo on the following page, there is a waterway that goes through the center of that lot. And it needs to be relocated to a property boundary in order for any economic development prospect we're talking to, or to even, adequately market that particular lot for industrial development. So the site program we have used twice in the last couple of years. And I'd like to make application for this particular lot to eliminate some of the environmental, well, in this case, the surface water problems on that, and make it conducive to development. I've been working with Kevin Varnell with Stocks Engineering on a cost estimate, and it's looking like about $215,000 will be the cost of that project. There's a 404, 401 permit that needs to be submitted to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for permission to relocate that waterway through there. And after we get that, we'll do that in concert with application so that they're happening at the same time. So, but in order to submit this application, which it's due March 14th, we need a resolution of the council authorizing its submission. And I also included in there appropriating a $10,000 local match. We have a line item in our current budget for economic development projects in that amount. By the time we get this project hopefully awarded to us and get around to doing this, We will most likely be in the FY25 budget, which, we will again appropriate a similar amount of money for economic development projects.
Is this 10,000 or 12,000?
It's supposed to be 10,000. Did I change it again?
Says 10,000 in the part.
I'm sorry.
It says 10,000?
It says 10 on the agenda report, 12 in the resolution.
Oh, okay. That's what, I'm looking at the resolution.
Sorry
Now,
about that.
Will we hear from Kevin or the Army Corps of Engineers of any potential problems that might arise from relocating a waterway?
We have to make the application on the 401, 404 permit. Kevin didn't mention anything about, it's a matter of an application, they review it. We have to update the environmental, or the Phase 1 environmental report on this particular lot, which I've already reached out to Terracon, the one who did it in 2013, to update it. So they're in the process of doing that, so I'll have that information to submit. We also needed an updated wetland designation on this lot, which Kevin Varnell is working on. So we will have all that for the application too. But Kevin made it sound like it's rather routine with that permit application to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to get permission to reroute a waterway. You're not eliminating it, you're just rerouting it.
Is it a blue line?
So it's questionable whether it's a blue line.
Because if you move it to the end of the property, then you're going to be not 50 foot away from the other parcel,
Right.
the other building.
And that's why it may, where it is right now, you can't use it. Where we will move it to will require some setbacks from other properties, so it's not near those. So, the 3.21 acres of that particular lot is not going to be all usable. It just isn't. So I don't know if I answered your question, Kate, or not.
Any other questions for discussion?
So how much acres is the whole thing? 3 acres?
It's like 3.128 acres.
So you're talking about making it 1.5 usable, 2 acres usable? Is that what you're
It
saying?
would probably be 2 3/4.
And that's big enough for a building and parking for?
Oh, yeah. Kevin laid out on there a 10,000 square foot building with loading docks and like 18 lot parking lot that's expandable up to almost 40,000.
But moving that ditch or waterway in wetlands, that's not going to incur any additional cost?
Well, that's what the grant is for, to cover the cost of doing that work.
I guess my concern is how many times can we go to Golden Leaf, and is this the best application to them
Good question.
at this point?
I have gotten correspondence back from the Golden Leaf staff when before I submit an application, I always like to submit it and get reaction to it. And Angela Gallagher, who is a Golden Leaf staff person, made comment that, you have 2 site grants right now. One was for the grubbing and clearing of the 2 lots in the business park. The other one was the rough grading for the shell building we're going to be doing, and we haven't shown them any results of that. In the application, I'm going to be, in the narrative, explaining that now that we have that rough grading done, we have a contract with Nash County to put a 40,000 square foot shell building there. It's not jobs yet, but it's a shell building that, if we hear from Andy Hagee and Susan Phelps, our Nash County Economic Development Alliance staff people, that shell building is going to invite people, result in prospects coming to Nashville to look at that building. They're confident on a weekly basis. They don't think that building's going to be sitting idle or very long, much more than a couple months, just with the amount of activity
That's a different
they've
site
seen.
though than this.
How many sites do we have surrounding this area that are usable?
So let me pull up the aerial photo on this.
And to Kate's point, are we better off to ask for a grant to get water and sewer to the other lot that we own
Right, some other
further up the Cook Road than to spend money moving a ditch
more
that
usable.
Well,
in the wetlands?
this particular lot is we had an economic development project for a 10,000 square foot building for a warehouse and distribution. And all the lots in the West Nashville Commerce Park, this is the one that individual, we could get into a building the fastest. He's most interested in this 5 acres on the east part out there, but we have to run a sewer line all the way through that property to get to it before it would be usable. And, you know, talking with Kevin Varnell, it's going to take more time to do that than it would be to submit an application to relocate this waterway. We're probably talking similar dollar amounts. There was also the possibility of where NC Fabrication is and the Blue Shell building out there right now on this property here, carving out a 2-acre lot north of that, which is going to require extension of a lane or roadway to get to it, and costs for that. All things considered, this particular lot, it's got the greatest visibility and frontage, which that prospect really likes, and is the one most likely, if we begin now, by the end of the year, could likely begin building a building on. The other two, it would be sometime in the next year.
Okay, so we have somebody lined up for this parcel.
Interested, interested, not spoken for.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, do I hear approval for Resolution 2024-13 authorizing the submission of a Golden Leaf Foundation site program application to remediate surface water issues on Lot 2 in the West Nashville Commerce Park and appropriating of $10,000 local match?
It should be 10,000.
If it doesn't get approved by Golden Leaf, we're kind of back to square one on this.
Well, it's due pretty soon, so
This is
have
the
you
one
already
you-
started working
This
on
one
it?
we do March
We don't have
15th or
much
March,
choice.
whatever it was.
14th, yeah. Yeah.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to
Yeah.
go forward, move to go forward on this.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is purchase of 3 acres on Cook Road.
So, Prime One Builders LLC, which is now Seth Balance, he owns the property in the area we were just talking about. It's a house on 2 acres and a 1 acre lot next to it on the south side of Cook Road. And I can pull that up here, put it on the screen. It's this property here. The council has discussed the purchasing of that property the last 2 budget years, and we just haven't had money to do it, to make it happen. It's a property that's of interest to the town because the town owns this 14 acres to the south of it. And acquisition of this property would add 3 acres to our 14 and give the whole 17 acres frontage on the Cook Road. So when Seth Balance's dad was still alive, he had offered it to the town for $136,294. And like I said, at the time that was offered, we didn't have the money to come up with it. Things have changed a little bit since then. We do have money in this current budget, which is not going to be spent, which will cover this purchase price. Also, Seth Balance has let me know that he and his mom are dissolving the Prime One Builder LLC, and they're not going to be doing this anymore, and they want to dispose of this property. And if the town isn't going to purchase it, they're going to pursue another buyer. Not that they have any in hand right now, but so I wanted to bring this back up to the council to see if we can get a council decision on whether to move forward on this acquisition or not.
Can we negotiate that 136?
I think so.
Because I like I've previously stated, I don't feel comfortable purchasing that 3 acres, purchasing that 3 acres and adding it to 14, and then giving it to a,
Well, that's a separate,
That's a separate
it-
thing.
it's
this
a
is
se-
just
this is-
purchasing this property.
I know, but down the road, they want to put that to the other 14 to make 17.
For a dollar amount, not necessarily giveaway.
Right, it would
Right.
be for a purchase price.
We'll get all of my money back.
Yes, more than that, yes.
So we won't lose money.
Right.
Yeah, I want to get my money back.
Right, no, but I think the issue before us right now, I think we've had a couple of discussions over the property that we do own, and it's just never suited any developer because we do not have the road frontage. So I think if we are ever going to do anything with that back property, we have to purchase this front property. And I think even if we decide that we don't want the back property, it's worth nothing putting it on the market and selling it without that road frontage. So I think we have to do this to protect our investment.
Any other questions or comments? Would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
I move that we purchase this property.
So there's been a motion to approve the offering the $136,294 to Prime One Builders LLC for the 3.2 acres of the 797 Cook Road. Is there a second?
Well, we did just talk about a negotiation of the purchase price though, right?
Yeah.
Not to exceed
Yeah.
136,000.
Not to exceed, yeah.
Not to
And if we can go
exceed.
lower, that would
Yeah,
be
add
great.
not to
I
exceed,
want to
yeah.
go below that.
And if we can go
Way below.
lower, that would be wonderful.
I think we can do that.
Okay.
Way below.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is the Nashville Business Center covenant waiver.
So now that Nash County is going forward with building a shell building on the lot in the Nashville Business Center that we have ready to finish rough grading, again, thanks to a Golden Leaf application grant for that. We got looking at the covenants for those 4 lots, and it's questionable whether a insulated metal building is allowed via those covenants. Now, having said that, both ACDI and Atlantic Natural Foods are that type of building. So Jonathan Boone, Nash County Assistant Manager, has asked for confirmation from this council before he lets that out for bidding that we're okay with the county building a metal insulated, a paneled insulated building on that lot, similar to what's on ACDI and Atlantic Natural Foods.
So are we allowed to do this if we don't own 2 of the properties out there? Don't we need all the people that own the properties to agree?
If we're changing the covenants, all the declarants or property owners have to be involved in that discussion. What we're doing here, like I said, when you read on the following page what's permitted, the last sentence says, unfinished concrete exterior building walls and manufactured or prefabricated metal buildings are prohibited. But the sentence before that, the use of any other material shall be permitted only upon the architect review prior written approval. These covenants were amended a while back to do away with that architectural committee, and that term's been changed to the declarant, which is the town council. And that's where when you read that, can we or can we not? It appears as if the town has in the past, with the 2 previous buildings that were built out there, granted permission for that type of building to be there.
I mean, I'm for it. I just make sure we're
Right.
doing it legally. So-
I feel like but like we do need to delete that last sentence.
And we may do some other changes in the future of this lot, so do we need to incorporate all that together?
Yes, I would recommend that in the future. You're going to see these covenants again because we do have a prospect for the south lot out there that wants to do some rather unique and innovative things that don't fit in these covenants.
Correct.
Do I hear a motion for us to approve Nash County's request for the 40,000 square feet foot shell building in the Nashville Business Center to be an insulated metal panel building.
Move to approve.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Motion carries. Are there any other, that's the last item on our agenda. Are there any other comments from the council or the manager?
Mayor, I've got one item out that I brought up, and I don't know if it's just me or what. I do have a neighbor here, but does anybody in Nashville here, other than myself, get woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning with our recycle truck going through town?
Yes.
Okay. Randy, I'd like to make a part of record that we get this corrected immediately.
We can, it's
We-
priced.
There's no need for a recycle truck to be coming through town at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, Randy, how many times have we spoken
Yeah,
with
we've
the
spoken.
higher-ups of this company and gotten assurances that they've spoken with all of their new employees? Like, I think it's time that we actually start giving citations
Do
to the
something.
drivers. Like, I just,
Or
what do
if-
we do?
if
But
they
you've
don't
got to
get it-
realize they're in control.
Well-
If we start giving citations, they're going to raise the price.
But don't we have a
and pick it
noise
up.
ordinance
We
going on in the
do,
middle of
and
the
they're
night?
breaking it.
And
And
they're
that,
breaking it.
It's in our contract with GFL that their trucks are not supposed to be in town before 7 a.m.
Oh, that's not
We
happening.
brought this item up. This is at least the 5th time I'm going to be talking to Pat Lucy about it. The last
Have all
time
the
wasn't
emails.
that far past, behind us. And he told me at that time that they're requiring the drivers to sign an agreement that if they violate the terms of this contract, that they will be fined and docked pay for doing it.
Well, I think we've kicked this can down the road long enough. If they cannot correct their problem, I think our corrective measure would be to not renew that contract. And let them know that.
Okay?
Is there anybody
that's
else?
what I was just
Is there
thinking.
anybody else who can pick up my trash?
We're picking our own stuff up, I think.
We'll find somebody else.
Oh, with the dumpsters, and then they're banging the dumpsters. It's very loud.
And about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
I know I'm retired, but I like to sleep.
Okay, we've heard you, and so Randy will call them again. Are there any other comments?
Mayor Brown, on a lighter note and a quieter note,
Quieter note.
I want to celebrate Mr. Walter Hopper Jr. for consenting to serve the town of Nashville on one of our boards. We're grateful. We always look for dedicated, committed citizens of Nashville to help make us be aware and serve in those capacities. And so we celebrate your efforts and we welcome you to the town of Nashville and serving with the Planning and Board of Adjustments.
Absolutely. Good call. Any other comments?
Echo that.
If not, we thank each of you for coming out and for caring about Nashville, and we will see you at our next meeting, I hope. If there's not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Being no further business, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.